Hi, good morning, everyone. Okay, let's kick this off. Yeah, okay, so for the next 15 minutes or so, we're going to talk about content delivery, of course, and more specifically, given we are at Video Escape, we're going to talk about video content delivery, the challenges we see today, how we manage to solve those, or what's the plan really we propose to solve those, and what the future will bring as well. So my name is Arianna, my surname is Aondio. Quite difficult for an Italian as well, so I don't really expect anyone to pronounce it properly. I work for Varnish Software as field engineer, and it's been many years now, and I've been lucky enough to gain some experience in the plain content delivery area, so regular websites, e-commerce, or API, really. And then, of course, throughout the years, we also became experts in video streaming and video content delivery. And I managed to handle a few solutions for video content delivery providers. And I've been lucky enough to be able to touch for a while the voice content delivery area. So we were born as caching solution, but when we're caching, we're really trying to improve content delivery performance, and that's what you all expect when you try to deliver some video to your end viewers. And that's why we also became experts in video content delivery. Currently today, Varnish powers about 5 million websites worldwide, and a few of those are quite highly ranked. Just to give you an overview, those are a few of our customers. I'm sure you're going to recognize a few of them. And some of those, they do use Varnish to deliver live content or live videos. Few others use it for video on demand. Then we have, of course, a group of customers using it for both live and video on demand. And a few others decided to build their own private CDN using Varnish. And a quite common setup is also to use Varnish together with another content delivery provider, which will be an hybrid setup. But let's jump straight to the challenges we see today in the in video content delivery. So we really talk about content, bandwidth, and the viewers. So when we talk about content, we are not really worried about the size of content you want to deliver or the size of the library you have for your VOD. But we are worried about the different packaging formats we have today and the variation in bit rates we see today. So as you probably know very well, when you do deliver video, you need to package it at least twice, because you need to handle Dash and HLS as well. And that's the best case scenario. Otherwise, there are a few more other packaging formats you need to package the various fragments with. And on top of this, there is the so famous and called adaptive bit rate, which means your video will use a specific bit rate for every single device, or for the device the viewers is using to display the video, to create a good quality of experience for the end users. And of course, if we do combine the different packaging formats we have and the different bit rates we have, you suddenly see you will have to store twice, 3 times the same fragment of the video just to be able to deliver a good quality of experience for your end user. And that's a very first problem, and that's a storage problem, and we'll see how to solve that. And then we have the bandwidth. That's a bottleneck, really. So among the different solutions I've had the chance to work on, bandwidth is always the bottleneck. It is difficult to scale it up, and if you want to scale it up quickly, it also quickly becomes extremely expensive. So the best way is to find a good balance in order to be able to provide a good quality of the service to the viewers, and also keep the cost contained somehow. but bandwidth is physically limited. So just to give you an example, bandwidth comes with two sides of the same coin. You, as content provider, you might have a wonderful network skeleton, and you might be able to deliver thousands of gigabytes per second, like impossible. Think of a huge number, and that's brilliant. But then, of course, you also have the viewers, and they might be using a crappy Wi-Fi, they might be using mobile connection, or they might be using Ethernet. So there are two sides of the same coins, but still you want to deliver a great experience to every single viewer, no matter which kind of connection they're watching the movie or the video on. And of course, those two major problems, they are linked to the quality of experience for the end users. So, you know, video content delivery is a competitive market today. And viewers don't only expect to watch a video when they go and try and log into a video service or really anything else. They also want other services. So if they watch a live event, like a football game, you might want to have some sort of virtual reality or artificial intelligence which tells you for how many kilometers a player has been running up to that point. Or if you're watching a TV series, you might want to use a recommendation engine as well. So there are other services surrounding the plain content, the video content delivery, which makes the whole scene way more complicated than it already is. So the very first solution to these three problems will be to, well, of course, to cache. Like we were born as caching solution, and the very first step will be to have a caching layer in front of your origin server. So you have an origin server where your VOD is generated and where your live fragments are generated as well. And then you want to serve your end user directly from your cache. So this is what we do every day, but we decided to squeeze this even further. Because as I said, bandwidth is the real bottleneck. And if we have 100 gigabytes Ethernet card, we want to use it all. And we did manage to push 100 gigabytes using a single Varnish instance. And this, of course, is already a huge improvement. It requires tweaking both on the hardware and software side, but it is doable. And we have a few customers actually using it and testing it every day. And this will solve the bandwidth, but then we still have the storage issue. So how do we solve the storage issue? So when you cache, as I said, we are caching a massive amount of content. We're talking about hundreds of terabytes, if not petabytes of content. So again, we want to use few servers, and we want to get the best out of those servers. And ideally, you will play with a couple of caching layers. A caching layer living closer to your end users, and this caching layer will serve content out of memory, because memory is fast, and it will serve live content, for example, which is extremely sensitive to low latency, and the most requested fragments for video on demand. So if there is a new TV series coming out, you know everyone will jump on that new series and try to get content for it. And then you will have another layer closer to your end, to your origin server. And this second layer will do the heavy lifting caching, which means we want to use this second layer as secondary origin server. So instead of generating content, we try to push all the content from the origin server to this second Varnish layer, which will cache content on disk, which will make it persistent over restart. And of course, when we cache on disk, we have a lot of disk available. And what we managed to do with MSC, the massive storage engine, we did manage to cache more than 100 terabytes on a single Varnish server. Of course, this can then be scaled horizontally, which makes it quite quite easy to do, and it really depends on how much content you have. But still, being able to cache 100 plus terabytes on a single server, together with the ability of having 100 gigabytes per second throughput, this already gives a huge boost to your content delivery, strategy. So to resume, to wrap up really, content, bandwidth, and viewers. When it comes to content, you want to be able to use a few servers and make the best out of those. So try to do the heavy lifting on a single server running on disk, and then you will make it fast using a memory layer which serves the most request content. Bandwidth. Well, of course, you need to have a good Ethernet card and a good network as well. But together, we can tweak it and serve up to 100 gigabytes per second, which of course means a lot of concurrent using being served all together. And as a result, we will have an increased quality of experience for the end users. Do you have any question? No? All crystal clear, I guess.
Well, it's a very comprehensive, and thank you, really clear articulation, actually, of some of the challenges. And I know that it's often something that's underestimated with platforms. We tend to focus a lot on the user experience, on the content, but we forget that actually the user experience is fundamentally impacted by how they actually experience the delivery of the content. So I have one short question, Arianna,
Please.
which is, to what extent, when you're dealing with platforms, are you able to have a conversation on the upfront about that critical element of the user experience and the need to prepare so that you have a smooth delivery service?
I'm a technical person, so I tend to always ask what's the average response time upon request. And that I guess is a measure we can use to understand what's the quality of experience for the end user. But the quality of experience for the end user can't really just be valued by a number. Because the user needs to get the feeling the platform is reactive, and this of course includes what we do, but then it will also be up to the UX designer and a few other teams within the video platform provider as well. But from our point of view, of course, we want to reduce the response time, especially for live content. So live content, the goal with live content is to have a latency very, very close to zero. Because imagine you are watching a football game.
Someone's next to you.
Yes. Like, especially in Italy, if you're watching a football game, you don't really want to figure from your neighbor if someone scored. You want to be fully aligned with everyone else. So that's extremely critical.
That's particularly the case now that people are viewing content on devices. So if you're viewing a live football match, you don't want to be hearing someone cheer next door before you've actually seen the goal. So I guess I understand that. So just for the business people in the room, when thinking about launching an OTT platform, one of the key questions then is really around response times and making sure that there's a very smooth flow of content to the consumer.
Correct.
Okay, well,
that's correct.
Thank you very much. That was a very interesting
thank you for having me.
Articulation of something that not many of us are really deeply focused on. Thank you.